Hey, it's Amit Sanwariya, third year CS Ganvia. I'm showing my project on cloud computing. It's infrastructure as a service sharing. So for the server side, I've used the Red Hat Enterprise Linux 6.2, and for the client side, I'm using Ubuntu 13.10 OS. So here you can see the server side OS. Um, that's the Red Hat. So let me show you the infrastructure's detail. So first, the name is I've created Fredo. It's shut off. Here you can see the UUID. Okay, so on the performance side, on the process side, I have given it a one core processor. For memory, I have allocated a 1 GB of memory. I also allocated a 8 GB of hard disk space. The video controller I am using is Cyrus, and it has about 9 MB of graphics RAM. So let's move on to the client side Ubuntu operating system. So this is the client side Ubuntu operating system. So here it's my project. Okay, so to run the project, you need to run the run.sh file from the terminal. If you're using the Red Hat or Fedora based OS, you can run directly them from GUI. But currently, as I'm using Ubuntu, so we need to run it in the CLI version. Okay, let's first navigate to the directory. It's in home directory of my local user, so it would be slash home slash my username slash desktop, and in the desktop I've placed the files in the MP folder. Okay, so right now we are in the MP folder, so let's see the files in here. Okay, so all the files are here with their backups. So let's run the run.sh file. So here we have our project started. So basically the software is made on shell scripting, and we are using dialog boxes for the interface. So here is it's asking for the server's IP address. Let's find out the IP address of the server. Okay, so uh, let's see if you open a terminal, and I'll give the command if config. Now the if config shows the configuration of the all the connectivity devices. So here I have my IP address 192.168.192.134. Okay, so let's move on to the Ubuntu side. I put that IP address 192.168.192.134. Okay, so it would take about some time. Till then, let's discuss about the program. So what happens here basically is in the background I'm using SSH to connect to the server. Let me explain you the code. Okay, so the run does nothing much, like it just gives an info box and calls the other file. Okay, so next is the menu. Menu is also a small part. It's just give the user interface for the menu for starting the cloud or exiting the project. The main thing is the is shell file. So here we can see I've given the commands for sharing the infrastructure cloud. You need to input here I'm storing the IP address, and then I'm giving the SSH command for sharing the virtual machine. Okay, you need to also configure the SSH file, which I won't be discussing in the video. So here it's done. It's asking for the password of the root user from my server. Let's see. Okay, so I have entered the password. Okay, so here we got that Fredo from the Red Hat Enterprise Linux on our client side. So I'll show you the details. Here you can see the overview. Please take note of the UUID. It's the same as on this as on the Ubuntu side. Let's see. The virtual machine details. Let's move to the details here. It's the same UUID that's on the RHEL. So that means at least the infrastructure has been shared. So let's boot it up. Okay, so now we'll start the service. Here it's opened up. uh, let's play this virtual machine. Here the Fedora is booting on the Ubuntu client. As you can see, the Ubuntu does not have the virtual machine manager. There's nothing by that name. Okay, so let's move back. Okay, so let's see, there's been some errors. Let's see why is that. Okay, let's try to run this machine. Let's stop this machine. Okay, so I've given you a basic view how to share this. Let's create a new machine. I'll force off this machine. Okay, let's create a new machine. Files, manager. Okay, so I'll create a new machine. Let's give it a name cloud. It's using local installation media. I'll select the ISO. So yeah, on the desktop I have the ISO. Okay, so let's select the Linux operating system. It's not Red Hat, it's Fedora. So it doesn't have the option for Fedora 19, so we'll select Fedora 16. Let's move forward. The same 1 GB RAM and 1 CPU, 8 GB of allocating space. We'll allocate the disk space later. Let's move forward. Okay, we don't need to customize it. Let's finish it here. Creating a domain. Yeah, the virtual machine is started. So as you can see, it's asking for starting Fedora. Let's start the Fedora live. So it's assessing. Okay, by then let's move to the Ubuntu side. Okay, so let's do the manager. As you can see, the cloud is now showing up on the Ubuntu side. Okay, now it's connected to the graphic user interface. It's showing the same thing on the both sides. This is the Red Hat side. It will take a few seconds to load the operating system, which is actually a virtual infrastructure, as I can decide what I want to share and all that things. Let's minimize it. Okay, so it's a rich target graphical user interface. It's putting up. Let's move to the Ubuntu side. Where are we? Where are we? Let's move below. As you can see, let's view the manager. It's completely using the hardware. It also optimizes the hardware, so it's good for using when you have like 4 or some cores and 8 GBs or more VMs. What's happening on the server side? Let's see. It takes a few time for the operating system. Let's minimize this. Speed up the process. Okay, so the GUI has started to form up. Okay, so here we got the GUI on the server side. Okay, let's minimize it. Move to the Ubuntu side. Okay, so the infrastructure is shared. Let's maximize it. Let's move into the OS. I'll try Fedora. Okay, it says we can install anywhere time we want. We'll do that later. So let's move to the activities. It's the same as the launch panel in Ubuntu. So you've got our Firefox and all that operations I want to use. These are my workspace on the sides. Let's see, open the Firefox. Let's open a new window. The performance would not be as fast because actually I'm using the nested virtualization. I'm running these two Ubuntu and Red Hat virtualization machines inside a Windows 8.1 OS. So let's move back to the Ubuntu and inside that Fedora. So here we have the Fedora project page. Inside a Fedora running inside Ubuntu that's being shared from the Red Hat Enterprise Linux, which is also running inside a Windows 8.1 machine. Okay, so that's all. Thank you for watching my video on my project Cloud Infrastructure as Sharing.